You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Jaylen Brown dropped 50 last night for the Celtics in an overtime win, and they needed every bit of that 50 points in order to get that win against the Orlando Magic out of all teams. But it was a great performance. We're going to talk about it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and let's get into it. Now, the Celtics are missing a few players. Rob Williams didn't play last night. Jason Tatum's still getting back from his COVID issue. And they're missing a few other guys too that are in the rotation, like Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith. But the Orlando Magic are a team that's pretty inferior and should be a team that's, easy to beat, as talented as a team as the Boston Celtics are. But of course, if you watch the Celtics at all this season, nothing is a guarantee. If they're up by 20, it's not a guaranteed win. Even if they're playing the worst team in the league, it's not a guaranteed win at all for this team, and that's what it was last night. They were up double digits early on, but then the Magic just kept creeping back into the game. Terrence Ross had a phenomenal game. And then the Magic went on this big run between the third and fourth quarters to go up by like 14, 16 points at one point. And it was just looking like it was going to be one of those bad losses by the Celtics. And Jaylen Brown was having a consistently good game the entire game. And it just looked like that they were going to waste a masterpiece. But Jaylen Brown literally put his backpack on and carried the Boston Celtics back into this game. He had like 21 points in the fourth quarter alone. Went into overtime, he had 47 going into OT, and then the Celtics were able to pull away. He had a big three in overtime to kind of extend the lead, I think, to like 5 points. And the Celtics ended up being able to close this game out, which is something that this team has struggled with all year long. But I just want to talk about Jaylen Brown first. We're going to talk about the good, then we're going to get to my concerns with the Celtics still. But Jaylen Brown, just somebody that continues to get better each season. I feel like we saw it on display early on in the season. Then he was kind of having the hamstring injury, and he was coming back from COVID and all that. And it was kind of a slowly ramped up process for him. But since he's been back from the injury, he's been amazing. He's been putting up big time performances, especially with Jason Tatum being out. He's put up, I think, 25 points or more in like 4 of his last 5 games. He's been very good lately. Just true definition of somebody that consistently puts in work every offseason. I would love to see what his workouts look like in the offseason, because his bag is truly deep on the offensive side of the floor. There are still some things that you would like to see him improve at, like playmaking. Sometimes his off-ball defense is not the greatest, but for the most part, he's just super good for this team offensively. And I guess it kind of, it's good that you have 2 guys that can really get buckets at any, part of the floor at any point in the game, because a lot of teams don't really have like one guy like that. It's tough to find these guys that can just get buckets, at great efficiency and stuff like that. The Celtics have 2 guys that can really get baskets in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That's why I'm always hesitant on when people say, oh, they need to break up this duo, because one, they're both like, 24 and 25 years old. And I don't think a team has really been built around these guys effectively to really diminish that, the things that they're not good at. And I don't think that they've really had it. They've never really played with a great playmaker. They played with, point guards that are more scoring guards, which is fine, but it kind of limits them in a way, because these guys are not great playmakers in their own rights either. Which is exactly why you have, a lot of times where it's either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum having to just go out and score 40 points for this team to win games. We saw it last season. It was pretty much the same thing. If Jason Tatum wasn't scoring 40 points, the Celtics were not winning games. That's pretty much what it was last season. And lately for the Celtics, there's been a lot of this, if Jaylen Brown's not going off, the Celtics are not competitive at all. Which is kind of sad to see, because this roster is a lot more talented than last year, which just raises some of the questions, man. They look really good in the game against the Suns on New Year's Eve, but it was still one of those games where I thought the Suns were going to come back and win, because the Celtics just struggle to close these games out. But when they play this more team-oriented style, like, they look a lot better than just, one guy having to put on the cape and save the day. I think the Celtics still trying to figure out, like, how to play under new head coach Ime Udoka. It's a learning process for this team, man. But they got vets on this team that have been battle-tested, so I'm still kind of surprised that they've looked as poor in certain stretches of the season. I didn't have high hopes for this team. I didn't think that they were going to be like a, top 4 seed. But I thought they would be a lot better than playing 500 basketball. And right now, I think they're like the 8 or 9 seed. Like, they're not playing that great. You can't use the excuse like guys have missed time for this team, but guys have missed time for every team in the league. Every team has dealt with some type of star player missing time pretty much. So that's not really an excuse. It's just a fact of, you got to be better. And maybe there's a move to be made. I'm not sure. I would just love to see this team just have somebody that's a very, like, above average playmaker. Marcus Smart, he's cool, but he's, in my opinion, like, he's just the most, like, average playmaker. Like, he's not out there dicing defenses up, but he's not bad. Like, he can get you 5 assists. I made a tweet the other day. It was the game against the Suns. Rob Williams ended up having a triple-double. He had 10 assists. And I was saying, like, it's crazy that he's like the third best passer on this team. It goes Smart, Horford, and then Rob Williams. Like, that's the truth of the matter. Two of your best three passers are big mans. So it's kind of crazy. Like, I would just love to see Tatum and Brown be able to play with somebody that is a good playmaker. People that come to mind is like somebody in like Ricky Rubio's realm, like just somebody that's a good playmaker. You know, a Ricky Rubio, maybe like a younger version of Rondo. Like, I don't know, somebody like that. I think that could help make the game easier for these guys, because when you look at these guys, the game looks so difficult because they are putting up tough shots. And it looks good when it goes in, but this has been my thing with Jason Tatum over the last few years. And Jaylen Brown does it too. Like, these guys take tough shots. They take very tough shots. And they live by the tough shot and they die by the tough shots. And when they are not on, it looks very bad. That's when you have games like Jaylen Brown went like something for like 36 the other night because tough shots. Jason Tatum's had games where he's went like 9 for 30 because they take tough shots. So it's just like, it's a learning process. I would just love to see Brad Stevens in the front office try and, you know, make a move that can help supplement some of these deficiencies that this team has right now, that they have right now. But so far, it's just, I want to see this team healthy, see what they can do. Dennis Schroeder's been very good pickup for what he's getting paid. He's averaging like 16 a game. We see the impact of Al Horford. Rob Williams has really taken a nice leap this season. I love what I've seen from him. Even guys like Romeo Langford, I think, have taken decent jumps. Maybe his stats may not say like it's a big jump, but eye test, it looks a lot better. Same thing with Grant Williams too. It's been okay. It's been okay for the Celtics. I think they have this expectation because it is the Boston Celtics and they have two guys that are very good. They have two All-Stars. So it looks like, you know, this team should be a lot better than what they are. But I still think there's just gaping holes in this team that have yet to be taken care of by, you know, the front office. But I don't think it should be a rush. That's what I'm trying to say. Be patient if you're a Celtics fan. Be patient. Even though we want this team to be better, we've seen conference finals, you know, within the last few years, and we want this team to get back to that realm. But I think it's going to take a little bit more time than that. We got a new head coach. We got a new front office. We got to slow down. We got to be patient. But Jaylen Brown, 50 points, career high, and the Celtics needed every bit of it.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape.